Jonathan Agnew was born in Macclesfield, Cheshire, and brought up on a farm in Stamford, Lincolnshire. He went to Uppingham School before becoming a professional cricketer for Leicestershire. He played 218 matches for his county, taking 666 first-class wickets, including 5 in an innings on 37 occasions. He played 3 tests and 3 one-day internationals for England and was named in Wisden's 5 Cricketers of the Year in 1987. Being a professional sportsman is always a precarious occupation, where one's livelihood depends on the whim of team selectors. Jonathan was well aware of this problem, and with a young family to support, he was planning for the future during his playing career. He used to write a weekly column for the Today newspaper, and in 1990, when he retired from playing cricket, he became a full-time cricket correspondent for the same paper. Jonathan's first assignment was the 1990 England Tour of Australia. The words of the English players, "Aggers had become a beastie," that is, a cricket journalist for a tabloid newspaper. One day, on the Australian tour, Jonathan was invited to join the English players in bowling practice. However, he declined, realizing he had now joined the journalists and that his loyalty would be divided if he practiced with the players. In the mid-80s, Jonathan gained valuable experience with radio broadcasting in Leicester, on Radio Leicester, where he was presenter of the main Saturday afternoon sports programme. It was no surprise when Jonathan became the new cricket correspondent of the BBC in 1991, stepping into the shoes of Christopher Martin Jenkins. In his first commentating assignment, one of his instructions was, "Radio 5 want 50 seconds at 11 o'clock. Jonathan was now a professional broadcaster, so if Radio 5 wanted 50 seconds, that meant 50 seconds, not 45 or 55. Stopwatch in hand, Jonathan learned the skill of providing accurate sound bites. Soon Jonathan was a regular on Test Match Special, and he joined Brian Johnston there. One could say the programme became the Johners Aggers show. Together, the two presenters broadened the interest in cricket with their jokes, puns, and general good-natured banter. In 1992, Jonathan went to New Zealand, armed with a flashy tape recorder and a set of screwdrivers in case the telephone at the hotel needed fixing. That year, England faced New Zealand, a team with a formidable home record, but England comfortably won the series 2-0. There was nothing unusual to report until Ian Botham failed to turn up for voluntary net practice, and he was criticised by Geoffrey Boycott. At last, a story worth talking about. It was quite the opposite situation when the Pakistan national team came to England in 1992. To mark the occasion, Jonathan had a special edition of Test Match Special entitled, "Why England and Pakistan Don't Seem to Be Able to Play a Game of Cricket Without World War III Breaking Out." The answer to this question is quite complex, and it is related to our colonial past, or the colonial past of the British Empire, which cast a shadow over cricket even today. However, from the journalist's point of view, there was plenty to write about. The next tour was of India. Jonathan regarded this as enormous fun. The difficulties of transport to the more remote areas and the problem of telephone communication back to London added to the experience. An occasional reliance on a diet of Mars bars also helped. Someone once asked Jonathan, "Who was the best batsman you ever bowled at?" There is only one answer to this, and that is Viv Richards, who was the second player that Jonathan dismissed when playing for England. Jonathan recalls Gordon Parsons, warhorse bowler for Leicestershire, discovering that Viv Richards liked the short pitch ball. On one occasion in Grace Road, Leicester, Richards hit a bouncer with a resounding crack, which was followed by the sound of breaking glass as the ball came to earth near Grace Road. The West Indies was Jonathan's favourite place to watch cricket. A test match at the recreation ground in Antigua is a celebration of love for the sport and for the West Indian way of life. What could be better than to communicate at a test match in shorts and a t-shirt with exciting cricket and enthusiastic crowd than as the sun goes down travelling back to the hotel for a swim in the Caribbean? It is a tough job, but somebody has to do it. Jonathan won the Sony Radio Award for Best Reporter in 1992 and again in 1994. In 2010, the Association of Sports Journalists named Jonathan Best Radio Broadcaster of the Year, and in the same year, Test Match Special also won Best Radio Programme. He received honorary degrees from De Montfort University and Loughborough University. In 2015, Jonathan was appointed Deputy Lord Lieutenant of Leicestershire, and in 2017, he received an MBE for his services to broadcasting. He lives in the Vale of Belvoir with his wife Emma and their 3 dogs. In 1991, he was commentating with Brian Johnson at the Oval when Ian Botham almost lost his balance, and Jonathan said, "Botham just didn't get his leg over." This comment caused great mirth, not only in the commentary box, but also to motorists listening on their car radios. It produced a 2-mile traffic jam at the Dartford Tunnel caused by drivers unable to pay the toll because they were laughing so much. 14 years later, the incident was voted the greatest sporting commentary of all time, securing 78% of the vote. Mr. Chancellor, on the recommendation of the Senate and Council, I present Jonathan Agnew that you may confer upon him the honorary degree of Doctor of Letters.
Congratulations. So many of us are really interested. This is really special.
Thank you. President, Vice-Chancellor, fellow graduates and guests, I just want to say a few words to thank the University of Leicester most sincerely. I'm very deeply honoured by this award. It's a memorable day in all our lives for my fellow graduates. It's a reward for all the hard work that you've put in, and you must always remember this occasion fondly and with great pride. I will for 2 reasons. First, because of this prestigious award, and second, because it was a year ago to this very day that my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer. Believe me, that's something that makes the world stand still just for a few seconds, but it's a knockout blow. So the last 12 months have made us both focus very clearly on what is important in life and what isn't. Particularly, we've learnt we must take absolutely nothing for granted. We must seize every opportunity going and be kind to people. Emma's here today, her public battle hard fought and successfully treated here in Leicester by some amazing people to whom we owe everything. I'm so proud of her, and in a strange way, we've both gained a lot from the experience, so it's really lovely that this occasion will help make today a springboard for the rest of our lives, and just as much as it is for you too. It was interesting listening to that citation, bringing back memories of how working in the media has changed so much since I first started broadcasting here at Radio Leicester 30 years ago. Let's face it, everything about our daily lives is growing increasingly reliant on technology. I know I'm in danger of sounding like a complete fossil, but on my early tours to the BBC, there were no such things as mobile phones. I was allowed 1 phone call home per week. Now I can pick up my mobile phone, touch an icon, and I can broadcast in perfect audio quality from anywhere in the world. And I do, as I'm now theoretically live 24/7, as you all expect news to be delivered when it actually happens. I do hope that many of you are drawn to the media. I saw many of you receiving your certificates now are involved in the media. It's a great place to work. My colleagues are interesting, they're colourful characters. The constant demand makes it very exciting, albeit fraught with the danger of getting something wrong. I see Cliff Richard has just won his case against the BBC this morning. Something that has started to aggravate me, though, is having to make everything shorter. 1 minute reports are now 20 seconds, because we're told the younger generation doesn't have a long attention span. And it's not just the media. The England Cricket Board is creating a game even shorter than 2020, and that's short enough. Golf, tennis, snooker, you name it, all creating instant versions of the true form of the game to appeal to young people. But I see no evidence for needing to do this. It's true there's much more choice these days. It's easy to flick from subject to subject, so what you create has to be interesting, but that's not the same as making it shorter. After all, why has Twitter, once only 140 characters, doubled the amount that you can post? Why are feature films every bit as long, if not longer, than the old classics? Young girls and boys love Test cricket just as much as I did, and that lasts for 5 days. Without it, you wouldn't have the ebb and the flow, the subplots and individual contests that make Test cricket so special. It seems that my generation has decided that your generation can only handle a quick hit and are dumbing things down, whether you like it or not. And I think that's wrong. What hasn't changed over the years, despite dire warnings, is people's love of radio. It remains the warmest and most personal way of broadcasting and communicating with people. And like every listener, I can't help but wonder what the face behind that lovely radio voice actually looks like. Well, I stand here as evidence that it's usually a grave disappointment. However, I also stand here very proud and humbled to be here with you all who've worked so hard. I wish you luck in making the very best of your lives, and as Emma and I are trying to do, seize every chance that comes your way. Above all, remember today. I was talking to one of my colleagues yesterday on the radio who said he didn't turn up for his graduation. It's sad. Take something as a keepsake. Don't just mean a selfie, but as a constant reminder of how much you can and you have achieved. Thank you very much.